Our rapid growth, driven by newcomers coming to Canada, means that we sit on a talent pool that is unrivaled in terms of youth, education, work ethic, risk tolerance. Brampton has so much to offer. But if you don't allow us to tap into what we have that the rest of the country does not have, we're not just shortchanging Brampton, you're shortchanging the entire country.
To understand how businesses are scaling in one of Canada's fastest growing and most diverse cities, we are talking to a leader who has seen it from every angle. As an entrepreneur, a volunteer, and now as a chief advocate.
The number one thing I tell businesses is ask, reach out, let people know what you're going through. Because my experience has been, people are generous and wanting to help.
Welcome to B2B Market Insights Podcast. I am SK. When we talk about the future of Canadian economy, all eyes are on the corridors of innovation and rapid growth. And no city embodies that energy quite like Brampton. With more than 110,000 businesses, a population of nearly 800,000 residents, and over 2.4 billion in construction activity in 2024, Brampton has become one of the country's most closely watched growth stories. To understand how businesses are scaling in one of Canada's fastest growing and most diverse cities, we are talking to a leader who has seen it from every angle. As an entrepreneur, a volunteer, and now as a chief advocate. Please join me in welcoming the CEO of Brampton Board of Trade, Jaipaul. Jaipaul, welcome to the B2B Market Insights Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. I really appreciate you making time for me, and I very much appreciate the work that you're doing to highlight so many of the great business stories nationally, but very much in our community here. So thank you for letting me be part of this.
As I told you in our conversation just now, I am also from Brampton. I
Yeah.
started from the Brampton.
Yeah. Well, all good people are from Brampton. All the best people.
Yeah, one of the fastest growing city in
Yeah.
Canada. You have a unique history with the Brampton Board of Trade.
Yeah.
You were a member for 20 years.
Yes.
And served on the board before stepping into the CEO role. How has that member first perspective shaped your leadership? And what is the one thing about Brampton's business's DNA that people outside the city might not realize?
I appreciate the story. And yeah, it's true. I've been a member myself. This is my 20th year since joining the Board of Trade myself. I've had a number of small businesses and got involved with the organization, became the board chair, and in a funny twist of fate, actually hired my predecessor. And when it was time for him to retire, the board reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in coming on board as staff. I have a lot of affinity for this organization, and I see the transformative capacity that it has. In terms of being able to bring that member perspective, I mean, for me, it's all about our members. I'm here to be of service. The organization is here, and my team, we have a fantastic group of people who I work with, and are here to be of service. And so everything we do, we try to do from the perspective of what's best for our member. Now, that means different things. We have some of Canada's largest corporations have their home in Brampton. And then we have people who literally are incorporating this week, who are joining as members of the Board of Trade. And so what that looks like varies. But the question we ask ourselves every day is who are we serving and how is the work that we're doing serving them? And that I've tried to bring, as a member, but also through my engagement with our members on an ongoing basis. Just because I have a perspective from what I've seen in my own business, it's not enough. I do my best to talk to members every day and hear what it is that they need in order for me to help bring that forward.
Yeah. And Brampton is often cited as one of the fastest growing cities in Canada. For an SMB, rapid city growth is a double-edged sword. And it brings customers, but also infrastructure and talent challenges.
Yes.
What are the biggest hurdles your members are facing right now as they try to keep pace with the city's expansion?
I would say the challenges that we're seeing are not necessarily a direct result of the city's growth. I think the city has done a fantastic job. We've got good partners in economic development. We have a council that is very pro-business. And consequently, a lot has been done to shine lights on the great stories of businesses in Brampton. And there's a number of great resources, whether it be the city's Entrepreneur Center, our Innovation District partners, Toronto Metropolitan University, Altitude Accelerator, the Venture Zone, the Beehive, and others who are there to help businesses get started. And I'd like to think the Board of Trade does a good job of, once those businesses are being established, of connecting them to other resources in the community. I think that side of the city has actually done well with growth. The challenges of growth that we're experiencing is that many of our businesses are also residents. And the challenges that come with infrastructure, struggling to keep pace with the growth of population, are things like congestion, affordability, which are very real issues, not just for residents, but therefore for businesses who sometimes struggle to retain good talent in the community when it's hard for people to afford to live in a place like Brampton, or hard to move around a place like Brampton at times because our infrastructure, our transit systems, in many ways are best in class. But when we grow as quickly as we do, it can be challenging sometimes to keep pace in that regard. Now, all that said, that is also our secret advantage in Brampton. Our rapid growth, driven by newcomers coming to Canada. We are the first stop for many people when they come to Canada. We are the gateway to the country. Means that we sit on a talent pool that is unrivaled in terms of youth, education, work ethic, risk tolerance. We are a community of entrepreneurs, and that is so we have those challenges with rapid growth. But as you pointed out, it's a double-edged sword, and the other side of the sword is much sharper and much better, because I will stand by the talent that is in Brampton as being an advantage that no other community in Canada has.
You have spent much of your career advocating for inclusive economies and supporting underrepresented populations. Brampton is one of Canada's most diverse hub. Like, how is the Board of Trade helping SMBs tap into this diversity, not just as a social goal, but as a genuine competitive advantage in the global marketplace?
Absolutely. There's a couple different ways. So one of which is, obviously we're in a time right now, we're recording this in March of 2026, and we are at a time that businesses in Canada are increasingly trying to understand where their global opportunities are. The landscape right now means that a domestic a market is not sufficient, and our US, our transborder partner, is no longer as reliable and stable as it once was. So as businesses are increasingly looking to do business beyond our borders in Canada, and quite frankly, all levels of government are looking to support that initiative, we are uniquely positioned because of our large diaspora community, to take advantage of these opportunities and facilitate Canadian businesses going abroad. Whether that be because you yourself are an entrepreneur who may come from a diaspora community and say, hey, look, I'm already from India. I know people in India. I can facilitate this. Or because you may work in a long-standing Canadian company, but have those competencies because your employees happen to come from these other diaspora communities. And that means not just knowledge of boots on the ground, but language, culture, all those things to help facilitate our businesses being able to transact in a more global way, I think is a market advantage for us in Brampton. Right now, much of that stays within our diaspora communities. Those of us who are Indian do business in India. Those who are from West Africa do business in Africa. Our opportunity is to broaden that and say, look, you're a multinational already. It just happens that you stick to your home country for all the reasons we understand. Let us at the Board of Trade connect you to the resources, whether that be in information about those markets, connections to trade commissioners or other Canadian supports to help you grow, or just what can we do to connect you to other businesses in those other countries, because we facilitate those relationships to help you expand what those international markets look like. So that's one of the advantages of our diversity. And then the other, quite frankly, is just the fact that our businesses are able to be innovative and compete in a manner that few others can when your employee base is generally more educated, has foreign experience. You have people who've multiple languages. We all know newcomers have resiliency and risk tolerance and capacity that I myself am born and raised in Canada. My cousins who've come from India have far more to offer because they've just come with world global experience that I can't have being someone who's just born and raised in one country. And when our employers can tap into that base of individuals who come with high education, high work ethic, and a hunger to establish themselves in Canada, it allows us to be competitive and innovative in a way that I think a lot of other markets can't be. So there's a lot of opportunities in Brampton based on that diversity.
And like I researched or there are 110,000 registered businesses.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's a big business community and a very entrepreneurial one. Absolutely.
Now, the Brampton Board of Trade has a very busy calendar right now. Jaipaul, like including high-level conversations with federal and provincial ministers. When you sit down with these policymakers on behalf of your members, what are the top two or three non-negotiables you're pushing for to make ensure Brampton remains a top-tier destination for investment?
Absolutely. Thank you. It's a great question to ask. And I think for us, if we're to narrow it down to just a couple, I mean, again, I try to, it's a broad assortment because I'm trying to communicate the needs of all our business members. And those vary based on the business, but also the level of government who we're speaking with. But if I'm to characterize it broadly, it really is this conversation we've been having about talent and workforce. And we sit, like I said, on this amazing amount of talent here in Brampton. I have employers who are looking to be more innovative, who want to be competitive on global levels. But sometimes we have these mismatches between what our talent pool offers and what our employers are able to access. And those can be things that are sometimes it's misinformation. Sometimes it's about closing gaps in accreditation. We may not here in Canada see the take on par an education diploma certification that was from another country, or we have challenges right now, as we know, based on decisions made at the federal level around international students, permanent residency for those who've come on work visas, that create challenges for our employers to feel confident hiring those employees and making sure that they're able to integrate and become longstanding members of the workforce. We have too many employers, unfortunately, who've hired incredibly talented people who've come into this country only to lose them to immigration status. And so when we engage with levels of government, provincially and federally in particular, our number one conversation is, look, Brampton has so much to offer. We are an economic driver, not just regionally and provincially. We have the capacity to be an economic driver nationally. But if you don't allow us to tap into what we have that the rest of the country does not have, which is this incredible talent, this incredible number of newcomers, this incredible entrepreneurial spirit in full, we're not just shortchanging Brampton, you're shortchanging the entire country. And that's the number one conversation I want to have, is making sure that those who are outside of Brampton understand the potential that can get unlocked far beyond just my community if we're able to make sure that places like Brampton and Peel region as a whole get their fair share in terms of resources. And in particular, when it comes to things like permanent residencies, LMIAs, allocation of international student opportunities, that we're maximizing what is here. Because no other part of the country, we talk about it as growth, but it's not just population growth, it's growth and potential. And we're shortchanging the whole country if you're not supporting the fastest growing large city in the country to fully utilize the amazing people that are here.
With your background in sectors ranging from manufacturing to healthcare and cannabis, you understand the importance of cross-industry collaboration. How does the Board of Trade act as the connective tissue of for a small business owner who feels isolated in their own sector and wants to break into new local supply chains?
Absolutely. Well, there's two or three things that are real priorities for us at the Board of Trade. We are the voice of business to levels of government, so advocacy, and whether that means engaging with the local municipality around zoning or transit to your place of work, right up to the federal level, as I shared on level issues like immigration, or we're hosting an event next week with the Minister of Defense to talk about how does that defense strategy unlock opportunities for businesses. So there's the advocacy piece. We do a lot around education. We want to make sure that businesses have the opportunity to always be aware of what's out there, have the opportunity to engage with thought leadership. So we run all sorts of symposiums on issues ranging. We did one recently on AI and cybersecurity. We have ones upcoming on sustainability and all sorts of conversations like that to allow businesses to ensure that they're always staying at the cutting edge. But fundamentally, what the Board of Trade is about is creating connections. And that means in very informal ways, come out, make friends, be at events, share business cards and create camaraderie, to, right up to very focused conversations where we're trying to match businesses who are in specific sectors or trying to investigate specific opportunities. I mentioned trade, for instance, earlier. We have other ones around manufacturing, women in leadership, where we're specifically bringing together people in those areas to exchange ideas, but also create those important connections that you're describing that allow us not just to find that next customer, but to your point, that next supplier, your next employee, your next hire, all can come from these relationships. And so we have events that are focused just around creating those, but in everything we do, there's always a lot of opportunity made to connect businesses to one another. But at the end of the day, I'll say, my job fundamentally is to do that. I'm the voice of the Board of Trade. I have a responsibility toward our programming, but we've got great teams who deliver on all those areas. The number one thing I think of my job as is connecting businesses to business and people to people. And, as I shared, I'm happy to be doing this podcast with you. I very much appreciate the opportunity. But the reason I'm also here is to facilitate a connection between the Brampton Board of Trade and your amazing CME publication because I want SME publication because what I want is for all Brampton businesses to get the same opportunity to be showcased, to be recognized, and to build those relationships. So it's the work that we do in everything, SK, is how can I connect businesses to one another? And the more I get to, the real privilege of my job is getting to go into people's places of work, see these businesses that they built, walk their shop floor, meet their employees, understand what they're about. And then what I do with that information is try to figure out how I can connect them to people. Whether that means organizing a program, we're doing this defense event, as I mentioned, because my members have told me they're curious and wanting to understand how do they participate in this new supply chain that's being built. We're doing a trade event later this month with the Consul General of India. Same reason. Our Canadian government has struck a new deal with India. It's coming together, and my local businesses want to know what it means to them. But on a fundamental basis, if you told me today, hey, look, I'm really trying to meet somebody who can do this, or I'm really trying to hire somebody who can do that, that's my job, is to help make that connection for you. And it's the best part of my job.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, Jaipaul, we always like to leave our audience with a spark of action. For a Canadian SME leader at the economic uncertainty of 2026, what is one practical step they can take today to build a more resilient and future-proof business?
I mean, it's hard to say one step. I mean, this is a tough one. This question is only challenging because you're limiting me to one. And if it's limited to one, I will say it's ask for help. I particularly because we're talking about those small businesses. I've been a small business owner. You're a small business owner. You've started, and congratulations on what you've built. And I will sure thank you for knowing that it started in Brampton, in the Brampton Library, which makes me so happy and proud. I was the board chair at the library. I love our libraries. But we as business owners and entrepreneurs, we often get into a business because we have a skill that we want to utilize, or we see a problem that we want to solve. But we are usually subject matter experts in that one thing, whether it be technical, whether it be an insight, whether it be an information piece. But none of us are fully well-rounded individuals. There's always something that we're missing on the people side, on the finance side, on the operations side. And the world of business that we're operating in right now is, you can appreciate being in media. There's more information out there than ever, but it's harder to figure out what's good information from bad information. The world in which we operate as businesses is changing more dynamically and faster than ever. And so how does that business navigate that? When you are an expert in one thing, you have to be focused on driving revenue and looking after your people, whether it be business expansion, new opportunities, how do you innovate? You need to have people who can give you that guidance. And so the number one thing I tell businesses is ask, reach out. And I'm not just saying through the Board of Trade, although we offer that. There's many resources out there, professional associations, your friends, your networks. Let people know what you're going through, because my experience has been people are generous and wanting to help. I'm here in this chair today because you and I connected on LinkedIn and said, how can we help each other? And we're here, and you're generous in your time and said, I want to help the Board of Trade. And I appreciate that. Thank you. People want to be helpful, but we have to reach out and make those connections. And so if there's 100 pieces of advice I would give in specific situations, but if you limit me to one, it's talk about, don't be afraid to share what you're going through. Don't be frustrated. Just reach out. Let your business community know. And I guarantee you, there are more people out there that are prepared to help you, give you good advice, help you, share their mentorship, help save you time and money from making bad decisions than you will ever count on. The help is out there for you.
And that was a very deep dive. Thank you so much for sharing your advice and your insights with our listeners today. It was a great pleasure hosting you.
No, thank you. I appreciate the work that you're doing. You're shining a light on some great organizations, and I very much appreciate you as a small business championing others who are doing great work in our community as well. Thank you.
Jaipaul, thank you again for joining us and for sharing those valuable insights. And as we have heard today, Brampton isn't just growing. It's helping shape what inclusive, high-speed economic development can look like in Canada. With more than 110,000 businesses, a strong multicultural talent base, and an innovation ecosystem that is already helping startups scale and raise capital, Brampton stands out as a powerful example of future-ready local growth. And to our listeners and viewers, if you're looking to grow your business, don't do it in isolation. Get involved with your local board of trade, build meaningful connections, and stay engaged with the ecosystem around you. Growth is a team sport, and your network can be one of your greatest assets. Thank you for joining us for this edition of B2B Market Insights Podcast. I am SK, and I will see you next time.